I should be live. Ambulocetus. I'm not in Philadelphia. I'm in Bethlehem. But the time is the same in time is the same. The time is the same. The time is the same in Bethlehem as well as in Philly, and it is 5 minutes to 8. That make sense? I hope you can hear me. Check one. I hope. Good.
You're looking at you.
I'm looking at me. I wonder if I am able to be heard.
Would you like me to turn my sound up for a moment?
Just for a second, sure. We're a couple minutes early. Just want to make sure this is all working. Yay. Just want to make sure this is all working.
Wow. You came from the future.
Oh, there's Jeff. There's Daniel. Hi, everybody. Boy, did we have a crazy bit of craziness earlier in the day. The YouTube link wouldn't work, so we had to go over to Facebook and we did the Facebook thing. But now this is on YouTube, but it's a different link. So if you saw the previous YouTube thing, which should go live in just a few minutes, there's just in the thing it says, but you're here, so you don't care. You know this already. You know this already. I wonder if there's a light I could use that makes me pastier. Is there something that could make me look more white? There's some kind of more white filter I could use. That would be even some kind of yogurt lamp. If there's a yogurt lamp I could use, that would be really good. Yay. So, Ambulocetus, it is 2 minutes, 3 minutes to 8 in Philly and in Bethlehem and in New York and in Florida and in parts of Ohio and Maryland and Maine and Vermont. The Mayo filter. Yes, I need the Mayo filter, Jeff. I think I have that going on, actually. Oh, my gosh. I think I need better glasses for this, too. Maybe that'll do it. Yes, that's way better. Oh, see? What I should probably do if I do 2 of these pairs. Oh, there we go. That's even better. And then I can do this. That's good, too. And then maybe this. There we go. Now we can have a serious conversation about the merits of democracy in post-Serbo-Croatian politics. Wow, I can see through time. Is it a bad thing when you put on more glasses and your vision gets that much better? Does that mean your prescription is old? I think that's what that means. So I'm going to check the other. Oh, we're almost live over here. We're not live quite yet. So it says that there's 8 people waiting at the other spot. I'm hoping they'll zip over and open up the new link. Did it make sense? Did you see the new link in the old thing and you just went, oh, that's where it is and it made sense? Or did you just come to the YouTube page by itself? Brian Mahoney. Hey, Brian. A clap back at you as well, sir. Ooh, we have an intimate little group here. We have an intimate little fun group. Yes, I am serious, Jeffrey. You can call me whatever you want. Ooh, Dummy Yak 5. Or Dumb Yak 5. Or Dummy CC5. Thank you. Thank you for saying my videos are awesome. I appreciate that. I hope this is sounding okay. I think it sounds pretty good, actually. Once again, we're not quite at 8 o'clock yet, so I want to make sure the folks on the other YouTube page make their way over to the link. Did it make sense? Saw linked in the old thing. It's good. Thank you, Telecat Prod. Cheers. Ooh, look, it's like we're on a boat. It's like we're on a boat. Ooh. The water stays level, the water stays level. No matter what you do, the water stays level. That's off the new album. That's called The Water Stays Level. Vibraphone is the correct response, by the way. If you are wondering what the deal is with Vibraphone, this is something that goes back to the early beginnings of the podcast where I wanted to have a short code word that would explain that you liked the show. Something that if I met you in person, you could just say a word, a single word that would make it clear that you enjoy the program. And you didn't have to be like, hey, I listened to your show and I like the show, especially the part where you talk about shoes. You just say vibraphone. And, you know, I get it, you get it, and then we have a conversation about donuts or something cool. Good, people are there. Ben Pulley, hello. There's Todd. It's true, Todd. If you do add an inch to this water, there will be a ruler floating in the water. That's what happens if you add an inch to this water. I guess I was totally wrong about that, so I apologize that. At the 2 o'clock talk, I talked about how if you have a globe, if you have a basketball and you put a string around it and you add an inch of string, it'll take the string an inch off the basketball. And if you have the entire planet and you put an inch of string around the whole planet and you add an inch to it, not an inch of string. If you have a string around the whole planet and you add an inch, it'll make it. I was wrong. Apparently, I'm completely wrong because I don't understand how pi works, which of all things, believe me, I know how pi works. Look at this. Look at these cheeks. I know how pi works. So, oh, Ben Pulley. Yes, sir. Good to see you, sir. So if you got a question, put it into the comments there. Maybe we can get this happening, especially if there's a question from other countries. Maybe you have to type upside down. Maybe there's some kind of a dingo which is eating your keyboard. Maybe you've come from a walkabout, which is what you're required by law to do every 25 years, I think, apparently, in Sydney or in Perth, maybe. There's no Australians here, so this would be going huge with them. This would be, this Aussie humor would just be gangbusters. It'd be like, you know, talking about Mount Doom to a bunch of Kiwis. Just killer, full Hobbiton laughs. Let's see. Oh, there's an Australian, or there's Clinton. There he is. Hey, Benjamin says, is this your correct podcast setup or you go to a studio? No, this is it. This is it, Ben. This is the podcast microphone. This is the podcast screen. This is the podcast chair. This is the podcast Pellegrino, although it's backwards. So it says, Honor Galep. Yeah, I do it right here. This is Sheerbrick Studio. Here we are in Sheerbrick Studio. There it is. There's the fan from the there's the fan from the Far video. I actually stood in that corner over there for part of the video. There's Ms. Info at her station over there. She's not always there, but she's often there. And I am often here, and this is the setup. This is how it goes. So it's not backwards for you? Oh, really? Oh, that's good. Oh, so this actually, it flips the image, so you guys can read this? You can read that word without it saying, Naba Laba Kamba Peps. That's great, because it's backwards for me, which means on this, I write with my right hand, and I do everything else with my left. Everything. So yes, this is where it happens. This is where it happens. To do this. So let's see. Have you ever read the writing on Dr. Bonner's soap? Jeff, not only have I read the writing on Dr. Bonner's soap, when I did my 500th episode 2 years ago, if you got a certificate of viewershipdom. If you watched the show and gave me $5 or whatever it was, you got an official certificate. I wish I had one printed out because it was my version of a Dr. Bonner's soap bar. It was a blue certificate and it had white writing on it and it had 1,000 just lines of text all over it. It was so much fun. It was so much fun to write. Do you have one, perchance?
I'm looking right now.
Maybe Ms. Info is going to try to find one. Jeff, for you, I'll print one out because I know I'm going to see you tomorrow. So yeah, but it's it's wackadoodle. The Dr. Bonner soap stuff. The soap is great. I mentioned I use the peppermint soap made with pure hope and resiliency of the stars or something like that. And it's awesome because it makes my dingle tingle, which is very fun in the shower. But I just like the soap. I like the way it smells. But when you read what it says on the One World, it is some wackadoodle stuff. It is very entertaining and wackadoodle. Dr. Bronner's, right? Yeah, Bronner's. Yeah, so we'll try to we'll print one up at some point and we'll get it to you. Ooh, she's uncovering the printer. See, the printer's right there with the magic printer button. And if we're really nice, like a transformer, it'll start dancing at some point. Little legs will pop out and it'll have two eyes on top. It'll have two eyes on top like this. And it'll go, I'm dancing, I'm dancing. Someone asked, how long have I known Ms. Info? I have known Ms. Info since 1997. 1997. Ms. Info moved in next door to me. That's how we met. She moved in next door. I've told the story a bunch of times, but the first time I met her, I was in my bathrobe getting my mail at 1 p.m. And she was not in her bathrobe. She was like an adult. She was like an adult person who wakes up before, the newspaper's delivered and before the noon newscast happens. So what is that from 1997 to now? Someone do the math quick. Come on. Do it. Do the math, somebody. Online, what is that? 30, almost 30 years, right? 20, yeah, whatever. 2007 is 10. 2017 is 20. So, 23, 24 years. Yeah, wow. And she hasn't aged, whereas I look like this. I need the yogurt filter. Give me the yogurt filter. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think we're printing it out right now. So yeah. Daniel Boatsman wants to know what is the theme for the next 13 songs episode. No, it's fine. We'll just get an idea though. Okay, so back to the Dr. Bronner's thing. So if, like I said, if you had watched the 500th episode and you sent me $2 or whatever it was, $15, whatever, you got this, and this is the official certificate of viewershipdom, and it's just covered. It's just covered in really silly text, plus a couple little drawings like you see there. What else? Instructions, some silliness. Yeah, this was really fun to write, and there's almost a Bible's worth of text on this thing. So yeah, I don't know if everybody got the Dr. Bronner, or the people that received this. I don't know if they got the Dr. Bronner's joke, but I don't care because I did, and it even smells like peppermint. It's nice. Yeah. So the Crazy Man soap. Yeah. So this was so much fun. So I'm hoping people have this framed in their houses. I know I do. So. The funniest bit on there is that I quote a bunch of Sylvester Stallone movies too, just because why wouldn't you? So, yeah, okay. Daniel Boatsman wants to know what the next theme is for 13 Songs with George Robb. The next theme for 13 Songs with George Robb will be The Police and Sting. That'll be the next theme. 13 songs featuring tunes by The Police and or Sting. That'll be, I think, a week from Saturday. We're going to do that live to probably YouTube again like we did last time, and that was so much fun. So Clinton says 23 years. That's right, 23 years. My goodness. Okay. Someone just got the mixtape. They seemed happy with that. Yay. Very cool. Daniel says it looks good framed. Yeah. The hits or B-sides. No, it's going to be everything. It won't be the super hits because who wants to hear that again? But it'll be songs that I, number one, can sing and perform by The Police and Sting. And number two, or number B, are ones that I just enjoy and dig. So there'll be a couple deep cuts, but mostly I think you'll know most of those songs, I think. I haven't chosen them all, but But yeah, it'll be a fun time. One song that will definitely be on there that I just learned last week was "Murder by Numbers," which is such a cool song. Harmonically, what's going on in that song is so bizarre. It's so strange and so cool and so dense. It is the most harmonically dense pop rock song I think you will ever hear, in terms of like popular song that would be played on the radio, done by a rock trio. You'll never hear chords that dense. It's very, very cool. Popular. I mean, I'm sure bands exist that do that kind of stuff, but that, could fill Shea Stadium. Let's see. Who's got a question? Hit me with a thing. I haven't had a question. We had, okay, Ms. Info. What else? Greg asks, if the band Rush didn't exist, how much longer do you think it would have taken, if ever, before you got interested in prog? That's a good question. Here's the thing is, I was into Yes before I was into Rush, but it was the Yes of the 80s. So it was 90125 and it was Big Generator. I was into that much heavier. I was into 90125 before I got into Rush, before Josh Raymond handed me a cassette with Exit Stage Left on it and said, I bet you can't play YYZ. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm in 6th grade. I'm the best drummer in the world. Of course I can play whatever song you're talking about. And he said, I bet you can't. He gave me this cassette that had Exit Stage Left on it. And I listened to that and it was like, whoa. Now, if he hadn't handed me that because Rush didn't exist, I think I still would have found the whole prog world through Yes and through Genesis, because I was a Genesis fan as well, but I was the Genesis fan of the MTV Genesis. So Abacab on, I loved Abacab. I loved that record. And from there on, I was really into Genesis. So I would have gone backwards. I would have gone backwards into the Rush, into the Yes catalog eventually. I still think I would have gotten into Frank Zappa in college, because that was kind of a separate thing. My cousin always said, you should listen to Frank. And I started doing that just as I entered college. And that introduced me to a bunch of musicians and sort of relevant soundscapes that would be where my kind of musical adventure took off from. So it might have been delayed by a couple of years, but mostly through high school. Mostly through high school. Then I listened to Rush pretty hard through high school. So Hold Your Fire, Exit Stage Left, Moving Pictures, Power Windows, Grace Under Pressure, Signals. Those were the sort of big high school records for me. So if I wasn't listening to those, I might have been listening to the Yes album or things like that. I'm not sure. So that's a good question, though. Clinton asked, did I ever do the song selected by viewers for the 600th show? No, I did not. And it is a source of deep, deep shame. Deep, deep shame. I actually have. My shame has exited my body, and it exists as a small creature. And this is my shame. That's what it looks like. And it lives here on the side of my computer, reminding me how shameful I am. My belly, my scritchy belly full of shame. This came out of my body whole, just like this, because I felt so bad that I haven't recorded it yet. But I will. I've started it a bunch of times, and I have never finished it. But at some point, I will do the 600 song. I promise I will. I know it's been way too long. It's been more than a year. It's inexcusable. Inexcusable. Seth asks if I've heard of the band Frost, with a little asterisk. Is that part of the name? No, but I like the poet Frost. That's kind of like the same thing, right? Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Two roads diverged. Two bands diverged in front of me. Do you like Frost, Seth? What's their big hit? What's their big hit? Can I practice it now? Can I practice what now? That song? No, I cannot practice that song now. Yeah. Josh, this came out of my body. I'm not kidding. This is what happens when you are so full of shame and just you feel so bad because you have such great listeners. You have such great listeners, and you just feel so bad that you haven't fulfilled their request, because they picked the one song that you absolutely freaking hate. But it's I will do it. I promise I will do it. I will do it. How about cake? Sure. Bring me pie, bring me cake, whatever you want. Are you talking about the band? I love the band Cake. Absolutely. The band Cake is great because the band Cake basically has released one album. It's just over the course of 8 records. Like you can put on track 1 from the first Cake record. What's the first Cake album called? Is it just Cake or is it Prolonging the Magic? I think it's just Cake. But you can literally put on like the first track. You could alternate tracks from Prolonging the Magic and Comfort Eagle, and you'd be like, oh, this is a great record. And much like AC/DC, they just sound the same, and it's great because that's their sound, and you just gotta love it. You just gotta love it. Seth says, check out the song Million Town. Okay, I will do that. I will do that.
Motorcade of Generosity.
That's the first album?
Yeah.
Wow, Motorcade of Generosity is the first album. So there you go. Track 1, and then switch it around. Oh, you're saying that band has a very cake. Frost has a very cakeish kind of sound. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Super Dairy Boy says, Gio, I wanted you to do a Weird Al song. Thought that would have been fun to hear. Yeah, I would love to do a Weird Al original. Weird Al's originals I love his parody songs and the songs that he does, and he is so great. He's the best at the cadence and the rhythm and matching the songs that he's covering with the original ones. White and Nerdy is just a masterpiece. The whole grammar song that he did for that horrible you know you want it, you know you got it. Yeah, Blurred Lines, where he did the grammar thing to Blurred Lines, is so freaking good. It's so good. But he writes amazing originals that are not just the style songs, which are really good, like Genius in France or Dare to Be Stupid, which that would be fun to do. But then he just writes good, fun songs that are his and are original. And it's really cool. Okay. Charlie Ross asks, what is it about Cake that makes their sound? Well, the sparsity of the Cake sound is essential. So you've got almost drum machine-like drum parts. You've got a bass which has a little bit of grit on it, which is playing open rhythmic figures. There's no real guitar rhythm apart from some acoustic guitar and a little bit of rhythmic guitar that's happening. You have a single trumpet that is filling out some of the harmony, and then you have sparse keyboard lines as well. So it's a disparate collection of sparse instrumentation. And then on top of that, you have this kind of talk singing that the singer Mike, what's his name? Mike? I forget the lead singer's name. The lead singer has this, to me, he is everything that like Lou Reed is trying to be. John McCrae. Yeah, I thought it was Mike McCrae. John McCrae. John McCrae does everything that like Lou Reed wants to do in terms of a talk sing, but he does it with a certain pitch consistency, which is so interesting and cool. So he's not talking, he's not rapping, he's not singing, but he's doing all three at the same time. And that's a very unique and interesting thing to do. His lackadaisical rhythm too, he is so behind the beat, that adds to the sparsity. So you have these component parts. You have this band that has these very, very sparse parts. You have a singer who has a unique voice, both in timbre and content and the selection he's making in terms of his melodic choices and his rhythmic choices. And then he's way behind the beat as well. So it's this strange, almost West Coast rapping style, but whilst singing. And it's just, they do that for every song. And it's very pentatonic based, which means it's sort of blues scale based. Their harmonic structure doesn't go much past sort of minor blues, really. And it's just riff based. But that's, they keep writing these great killer riffs in the same way that Black Sabbath writes, minor guitar riffs, killer minor guitar riffs. Cake does the very, very same thing. It's really cool. It's really neat. And if they wanted to expand that sound at some point, they could, and there's nothing wrong with them if they did that, but they just sort of haven't, and they found their thing. It's kind of this curious slacker. Slacker is a pejorative term, but there is this almost approach to it of like being so simple, and yet all the disparate parts they match and if you remove any one of those parts, the song doesn't work the same way. If you remove the trumpet from Going the Distance, it doesn't work the same way. If you remove the synth line from Love You Madly, it doesn't work the same way, which is a testament to their arranging capabilities, if not necessarily to their songwriting. But that's why Cake is Cake. Yeah. Also, Cake is 100% because of the vibroslap. Yes, Cake has the essential vibroslap. You know what vibroslaps also used to be called? The jawbone of an ass. Now, a vibroslap is a really cool instrument where it's sort of it's like a metallic prong, and at the bottom at the bottom of the thing is like a little container that has these nails that can sort of dance around, and you hit the top, which has this like ball. So imagine like a U-shaped pole, right? Like a wire that's U-shaped, but you hold it here in the U. There's a ball on the top, just a wooden ball, and on the bottom is like this little box that's full of these rattly things, and you hit the top and it goes grrr. That's a vibroslap. But what they used to do is they would literally take the lower jaw of a donkey or an ass or even a horse sometimes and dry it out, and all the teeth would remain in there, and you would hit that thing and it would do the same sound. It would go grrr. All the teeth would rattle in the jaw. So in some scores for orchestra, you get jawbone of an ass in a percussion part. It'll say jawbone of an ass, and that means vibroslap. Isn't that cool? Okay. Favorite Stan Freberg bit that isn't from the history of the US of A. My favorite, for those of you unaware, Stan Freberg is one of my absolute favorite comics, comedians, singers, songwriters, sketch writers, commercial genius from the 50s. And he has a seminal album called The United States of America, Part 1, The Early Years. Check that out. Green Christmas is a really great thing because he was talking about the commercialization of Christmas in the 50s, late 50s. That's a really great one. There's the thing called the Payola Rolla Blues, which talks about, again, in the late 50s, talking about how music on the radio was only played if you paid off the DJs. I mean, this is stuff that, people talk about today, but he was doing this 60 years ago. No, 70 years ago almost. Payola Blues, that's really fun. There's a great thing about the piano player just doesn't want to play eighth notes. He wants to play jazz. That's really, really funny. All the Dragnet sketches, St. George and the Dragon Net, those are really, really funny. Those are based on Dragnet. Those kind of broke him. Those made him super popular. He used to do those on the late night talk shows and stuff. So that's cool. Yeah. Yeah, but I would say Payola Blues, Payola Rolla Blues, or Green Christmas. And Christmas, the S's are dollar signs. That's always good to listen to during the year. Yeah, really funny. Will PFA be doing any YouTube shows? We really want to do some YouTube shows, and we're trying to figure out a way to do it. It's difficult with 8 members who all have different kinds of technology to not be in the same room and pull it off. Most of the guys don't have gear that can handle that kind of thing. So we want to figure out something at some point. Maybe we'll do something. Maybe it wouldn't be live. Maybe it'll be one at a time. We'll just compile something, but we desperately want to because we miss playing tremendously. So if that happens, I'll let you know. Brian, did I know there was a history part 2? Yes. I as soon as that was out, I bought it back in 95. I think that came out 95, 96. History America part 2. It's okay. There's some moments that are really good, but he rewrote a lot of it to try to make it a little bit more modern, and that kind of falls flat a little bit. But Shoot If You Must is awesome. I love Shoot If You Must. That's really funny. And the opening bit, the Telewagon, is very, very funny too. So sorry, this is kind of a deep dive for those of you that don't know Stan Freberg, but yeah. BM Furball asks, a song you hate because it is annoying but so catchy so you have to listen. For me, it's Old Town Roads, a song I hate because it's annoying but so catchy that you have to listen to it. There's, I have learned to stop hating things and try to find them, songs especially, find them in their merit. It's the catchy songs that are kind of dumb. I can really enjoy them because they're catchy songs that are dumb. The songs I tend to hate are ones that are either overplayed or that are not nearly as clever or as good as they're supposed to be. But there's very few songs that I hate. Obviously, like even the song Freebird, which I would never play, but listening to that song, you understand why it's as popular as it is. Or Wonderful Tonight is a song that I hate just because the sentiment is so the words are so terrible. The words are so terrible in Wonderful Tonight. It's like, you look wonderful tonight. But yeah, the guy's so drunk, he has to be put to bed, and the last slurring words he says to the woman who's putting him to bed, baby, just as you turn off the light, you look wonderful. Like tonight. And that's just gross. So I hate those much more than some catchy song. If you come up with some catchy earworm that gets in my brain, I got to give you kudos. Whether it's, I don't know what, whether it's, peanut butter and jelly or whatever. If it's catchy and it's an earworm, yeah, Old Town Road. I don't know why Old Town Road is as popular as it is, like that one in particular, but whatever. Despacito was another one that I didn't understand why it was so stupidly popular, but I didn't hate it by any stretch. Okay. GB Zombie Pie, or GBZ Zombie Pie, says, what is the biggest tourist trap food you recommend people avoid? That is, what is a food item commonly associated with your area that you think is overpriced or not as good as others say? That's a great question. Now, there isn't necessarily a food associated here with the Lehigh Valley that I would not recommend. But if we go to a broader spectrum and sort of the Philly thing, I think you can get a decent cheesesteak in Philadelphia without having to wait in line at Geno's or Pat's. And I don't know what the prices are like at Geno's and Pat's. They're probably not that bad. But yeah, that might be one thing that you can get a decent cheesesteak, in many places. There's this myth that you got to be either at Geno's or Pat's, and that's it. And then you have to pick one of those two between Geno's and Pat's. If you don't pick one, then you're not, you're being indecisive, splunge. But yeah, you don't have to do that. There's plenty of places that have great cheesesteak, actually all over the place. And you can sort of, depending on what your cheesesteak tastes are, whether you like the cheese wit, whether you like the whiz or you like real cheese or whatever, it's, it's up to you. So, but yeah. I mean, usually any food that you're buying at a place which is not a food-based place is a tourist trap food thing. So when you're paying $9 for a pretzel at the Ferris wheel, I wouldn't recommend that. But what you going to do? Shaved ice? Shaved ice, which is not as sexy as it sounds. What else? Geo, do you like the Dismemberment Plans album Change? Don't know it. So I might, but I don't know it. Let's see. What about Scrapple? I've never tried Scrapple, but I wouldn't not recommend Scrapple because Scrapple is 49 cents for 16 pounds. So it's like, yeah, don't spend that nickel on that 4 pounds of Scrapple, whatever you do. Let's see. Brian, is there a song artist you weren't a fan of when you were younger, but realized as you grew older that it wasn't that bad? Oh, yeah, there's lots. I mean, the number one thing that I was dead set against in high school was Pink Floyd. I didn't like Pink Floyd, not because I knew any of the material, but I saw the jean jackets that the people that liked Pink Floyd wore, and that just turned me off, man. Like, I get it. You're two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl. I get it. But like, really? No, I was bad back then and very judgmental and very full of myself, unlike today. where if like certain kinds of people liked something, that would really affect my liking it. So if I thought, a stoner person who I wasn't interested in hanging out with was into Pink Floyd or the Grateful Dead, then like, why would I listen to that? And then to Chuck Donchez's credit, a guy I met in college, CJ Steinway, who's still a lifelong friend now, more than 30 years. CJ said, let's go see The Wall because it's being showed at a midnight movie. They used to have midnight movies at the Lehigh Valley Mall, and they showed Rocky Horror, and they showed Pink Floyd's The Wall every Saturday night at midnight. And he said, let's go see The Wall. And I'm like, no, that's Pink Floyd. I'm not, Pink Floyd? Really? And Chuck said, let's go. I think you'll dig it. And I'm like, no, like idiots like Pink Floyd. What are you talking about? But he somehow convinced me, and I went with him and watched The Wall and loved it. And was like, oh, this is really smart and cool and dark and interesting. And the songs are catchy and great and wow. And then subsequently got every Pink Floyd album. And now Pink Floyd is one of my absolute favorites. Grateful Dead, similar thing too. It was like, why would you listen to the Grateful Dead? Why would you listen to the Grateful Dead? Because look at the people that listen to the Grateful Dead. And like an idiot, I thought that way for a long time. And then I stopped thinking that way. And the Grateful Dead are great. Terrapin Station, oh my gosh, wonderful stuff. So those would be two of the biggest examples, I would say, going from like, no, I'm not interested in Pink Floyd to like, all I do all day is play Pink Floyd songs, so much so that it probably annoys people. So let me go through here. On the subject of food, pizza, New York or Chicago? New York, Greg. There's just, there's just no, it's not a thing. It's a delicious tomato concoction that's doughy. That's in Chicago, but it's just, I know it's, you got to go with the New York. You got to go with the New York thing. The Chicago pizza is this tomato delicacy. It's wonderful. But it's just not what I think of when I think of pizza. And pizza, you want to have a couple slices. The Chicago tomato pie, you have 2/3 of a slice and you have to go hibernate for a weekend. Slice. Have yourself a slice there, that pie over there. Have that thing, because it's not from New York. Have that. Have the real tomato pie there. I can do this because my mom's from Chicago. She has a little bit of this. She does this a little bit, not that much. It sort of comes out occasionally if she's mad at a guy in a taxi, or if she's watching a football game. She yells at the screen occasionally. It kind of comes out. It's like this weird combination of Ukrainian and Chicago. Yeah. What else? I'm going through the messages here. Detroit pizza. Detroit pizza, what's that? Is that a pizza that you abandon? That's a pizza that you order and then you just leave. What do we got? Do I have an all-time favorite religious moron? Very early on in the show, there was a guy that jumped into a lion's cage. Like he was trying to not just show that Jesus would protect himself, but he was trying to like somehow convert the lion, and he was eaten by the lion. That was a good religious moron. I don't remember the guy's name, but he was eaten by a lion. That was a very early show. That was a fun one. And anytime a moron sort of gets their comeuppance is really wonderful. Like this week's moron on show 658. Grandpa's forgetting his numbers. On show 658, the moron this week was this Israeli health minister who said only gay people get coronavirus, and then he he got the coronavirus. So that makes me feel good. That's a favorite one. But yeah, Pat Robertson is in the Hall of Fame because he's been a moron so many times. So he's a pretty good one. Let's see. Rich Kurtau says, I'm sure New York pizza is great if you like fake cheese on cardboard. Yes, delicious, doughy, crispy cardboard. The way Jesus intended. The way Da Vinci designed it. On a thin pie. You get it at a thin, you fold it. You take it a slice, you fold it, and you go, so you get that nice little sandwich of a pizza in a single slice. Is it a sandwich? Is it a pizza? Is it a pie? I don't know. It's delicious. That's what you do. What's your favorite chord progression? Like particular song or like a 2-5-1 thing? Who said that? Oh, Rich Kurtow. Rich Kurtow. Oh, you're gonna insult me with the pizza, and now you want me to answer your question? You know what you can do? You know what you can do, Rich Kurtow? You can take that cardboard and you can roll it into a tube, and then you can take that tube and you can look through it, because maybe it'll be like a kaleidoscope, and kaleidoscopes are awesome. Ooh, look at that, little shapies. I like a chord progression that is unexpected. I like a chord progression that messes with your brain. Those are my favorite chord progressions, because as you get more proficient in understanding how certain chord progressions work, you start expecting things. But when the progression hits you in a way that's like strange, it's really cool. Just the other day, I was working on this thing, actually. I got my guitar here. I was working on the song No One Knows by Queens of the Stone Age, right? Can't see the guitar. I don't have the words, but... So it's in the C minor, right? Right? So you go into this G, so you get C minor, fine, to the G, fine, and then you have a B major chord. Like, what is that doing there? Because if we're in C minor, this should be a sort of a C dominant to the, like a B, like a flat, a sharp 7 chord kind of thing, to the C minor. But you have this B major. No one knows. That kind of thing is really cool. Like, I love, the first time I heard that, it was on MTV or someplace, VH1 Classic or whatever the place it was. Dave Grohl playing drums on that, by the way. And I heard it and I went like, squirrel. Like, what was that? What was that chord? So those kind of chord progressions I love. Those are really, really fun. So BZ says, what's the concert that you didn't go to but wish that you did and most regret? I don't know if there is one, to be honest. A number of concerts I've gone to have been very last minute. I saw ABWH in 1988 with my friend Andrew Weiner. Very last minute. He was just like, you want to go? And I'm like, we don't have tickets. He's like, so let's just go. And so we went, and it was amazing. And it restructured my whole musical DNA seeing that show. There's your answer, actually. There's your answer, Greg, from way back. If Rush didn't exist, I still would have gone to that ABWH show, and that would have set me off, because that was summer of senior year. Out of high school. So that would have set me in the prog world. So it wouldn't have been that different. Wouldn't have been that different. So, I wish I could have seen Prince. I mean, there's shows I wish I could have seen. My gosh, I wish I could have seen Talking Heads. I wish I could have seen Prince. I wish I could have seen Frank Zappa. I mean, I got into Zappa the year he stopped touring in '88. Prince, I never saw. I wish I could have seen Prince. But there's no specific show where like I had a ticket and then didn't go. And then it was like, oh, I should have gone. Stephen Colbert tells that great story of not going to see Talking Heads because he had a test. And he told David Byrne this story. And he was just like, no, I couldn't go to, the 83 tour, the Stop Making Sense tour, the thing that became the film. He had a ticket. His roommate or some college friend had a ticket and he didn't go. And all these years later, he's on his show talking to David Byrne. Kind of cool. Okay. Styrofoam Geo, ever done an Answers song? Perhaps another proposal for the 13 song concert. Answers song. Answer. You mean like take questions and then answer them in song? Yeah, no, I've never done that. The closest to that I've done in terms of creating stuff sort of semi on the spot was when I emceed the 2011 TAM, I think it was, the Amazing Meeting in Las Vegas. It was either 2011 or 2012, I'm not sure. I had the crazy and stupid idea to write a song for each speaker as an introduction. And I didn't do it ahead of time. As one speaker was speaking, the other speaker would come backstage and get ready. And I would talk to them and I would ask them a couple questions. And then I would write a song. And then I'd introduce them with that song. And I had 3 aneurysms over that weekend. So that's the closest I got to like an answer song. It was a lot of fun, and some of them were terrible. Some of them were actually kind of fun, and most of the speakers couldn't believe that I had just written it. But they had, they gave me answers to questions, so it sort of was in the moment. That was really fun. Yes. Joshua asks, would you rather have perfect weather for viewing the 2024 eclipse or VIP close viewing of a heavy rocket launch? Oh, man. I think I would rather be at the rocket launch. I would rather be, I'm assuming both of these would be somewhat one-shot deals. I think being in the VIP close-up rocket launch thing would be really, really cool. I think maybe it depends on which rocket. I don't know. That's a great question, Joshua. That's a very difficult, great question. That's one of those like, what if, like on your deathbed, you have to choose kind of thing. Now, can I have like the perfect setting for the eclipse? Because if I could have like the perfect setting, not just weather-wise, but also like a location somewhere that's just absolutely, some awesome expanse, maybe I would do that then. Maybe I would do that. I think, you know what? If I could have so we're talking perfect eclipse viewing versus perfect rocket ship launch. I'd go with perfect eclipse. Yep, I'm going to go with perfect eclipse. Yeah. So, let's see. For Gio and everybody in the chat, settle a bet. Marvel or DC Universe? Okay, for me, it's got to be Marvel, just because of the movies. Because if everything else is equal in terms of the DC Universe and the Marvel Universe, in terms of the legacy of their characters, the heritage of their work, the consistency, the timelessness, you've got Batman and Superman, and those are iconic characters, and there's no necessarily Superman or Batman equivalent in Marvel. Spider-Man comes close, I guess. And you say all those things are equal in terms of the writer and whatever, then you got to go to some other metric, and the Marvel movies just blow DC out of the water. It's not even a contest. And the people who make the DC movies will say that as well. So I would say Marvel, because the whole Infinity story, the whole Marvel 10-year thing was pretty amazing. I just watched Kevin Feige just posted an audio feed from the premiere of the last film, the Infinity War movie. And it was just a couple scenes. And as the scenes would happen, you would hear the cheers in the audience. And it was really cool. It was really fun. I didn't see it with a huge audience, but it was a pretty decent audience. But this was like in, LA midnight with that audience watching Infinity War the first time. And, when Captain America grabs the Thor's hammer, huge cheer when he says Avengers assemble, when he whispers assemble, just this massive cheer. That was really cool. I don't think you quite have that equivalent even close anywhere in the DC film universe. Now, that being said, I'm not a deep comic book guy by any stretch. I've never read that many comics, to be honest. But just in terms of that and the overall sort of cultural influence and the idea to make 23 films or whatever it was all work together, that's huge. It's just huge. And they did it. So Marvel has best movies, DC has best animated. Well, that's interesting. I guess you could argue that. Okay. What else? Let's see here. What songs have blown your mind and why? Music, lyrics, feel, video. Oh, is that all? I mean, almost always when I do a song, like a cover on the podcast, it's something that has just affected me in a crazy way. Like when I did Rook a couple months ago by XTC, I knew that song. I'd forgotten about that song, and I had rediscovered that song. It just got deep in my bones. I think the songs that continue to blow my mind are the ones that are really impressive. Like I can still listen to Close to the Edge. And or here's a better example. So Rick Beato has that wonderful series on YouTube right here. What makes the song great? He has a number of different sort of shows that he does, but he has the what makes this song great, which is a wonderful series. You should dive into that. It's just so good. And he did Roundabout, the Yes Tune Roundabout. And I know I'm sick to death of Roundabout. I know it forwards and backwards and upside down and inside out. But he tore the song apart and had the multi-tracks and talked about it. And it was like this wonderful 20 minutes. It was fascinating. It was so interesting the way he talked about it. And it made me reappreciate the song again. When that happens, that's always really, really, really cool. You can still hear things, like I said, in Close to the Edge that just, I don't know how they pulled it off. I don't know how they pulled those things off. But then I'll go and, listen to some Sibelius symphony, number 5 or number 7 or something. And it's like, I think those are the right numbers. And I don't understand how a human does that, comes up with something like that, let alone a piece of Beethoven that you really dive into deep into the ninth, let's say, it's symphonies that are cliches at this point. Even the fifth, everybody knows kind of forwards and backwards, but you do a deep dive into that, and that just blows you away. So as you examine a song more, it becomes more and more fascinating. Those are the songs that are really cool, because some songs you kind of learn what the trick is. Like a song may catch your ear and be interested, and you kind of like figure it out, and you go, oh, this is what they're doing. Oh, that's cool. That's neat. But then there's other songs that you sort of go, oh, that's cool. That's neat. But wait, why is that working that way? Or gosh, I never heard that. I've heard this song 400 times. I've never noticed that before. Those are the ones that make me really tingly and prickly. So stuff like Close to the Edge. Stuff like Zombie Woof, you dive deep into Frank Zappa's Zombie Woof and you start hearing all these keyboard parts or anything that's off of Roxy Live. The complexity and the intricacy that again, parts that are like this. When you have a song whose parts are like this, and if you remove one of the things, it's not the same. There's not the same tune, and that's why cover songs or cover bands are really interesting sometimes, because they'll, a song like this, a cover band will not have that. They'll have this, but it ain't that. And this is what makes the song the song. That's always fascinating to me. So yeah. Favorite music videos. Oh, it's hard because there's so many ones that I love just because they were new at the time and that were really fun. There's something about Once in a Lifetime, the music video for Once in a Lifetime, which is done on very rudimentary video software or using rudimentary video technology, but using it to the utmost, that you can watch Once in a Lifetime and it's still weird and still awesome all this time later. That video doesn't look dated. It looks dated in terms of you understand what tech they're using to achieve those things. And they're like, those effects are all on your phone now. And even on your phone, you wouldn't use it because it's kind of simple. But what Twyla Tharp and David Byrne did to use those tools and to make that video as cool as anything, check out Once in a Lifetime. It's from 1981, 2, and it still looks awesome. It still looks weird. To be able to maintain a weirdness over time and bizarreness is a really wonderful thing. But there is a video by REM. I forget the name of the song, but it's basically a 6-second clip of like this scene on at a poolside, and they filmed like, maybe it's 10 seconds. It's like 10 seconds gets filmed, and they reverse it, and then they key into certain sections of the screen. And when you key in real close here, one person is singing the lyric, and then it pulls out, and the thing reverses, and then it pulls in again, and it's the same 10 seconds just being looped over and over. But all the parts in this video, in this montage, in this mosaic that's happening as they close in, you see a different line being delivered from the song. It is so cool. And I don't even know what the song is. Tangerine something, some kind of citrus reference. It's an REM song, and I wish I could know what it was, but it's I think Spike Jonze directed it. I mean, almost all of Spike Jonze videos are just tremendously cool because they're just different and original. All the OK Go videos are just
Orange Crush.
no, it's not Orange Crush. No, that's off of that's a citrusy thing. No, it's off of I think their third to last record, maybe their second to last record. Does anyone out there know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to see if anyone knows what song I'm talking about for the REM tune. I don't think it's Imitation of Life. No. It has a tangerine, green, something, lemon. That might not be the name of it. That might not be in the actual title of the song, but it's that video that they pulled off that video is astonishing, absolutely astonishing. So, let's see. What restaurants am I supporting during the lockdown? Yeah, so across the street is Twisted Olive. I've gotten a couple burgers from Twisted Olive. I've gotten some burgers from the Hotel Bethlehem. I think tomorrow we're going to go to the Red Stag, which is across the street. Whilst Johnny's Bagels was still open, I was going there. They've closed down subsequently. But yeah, trying to help out where I can here in town with the occasional food purchase. Let's see, video games. Do you play any old school or new releases? I am not a video game guy. For as nerdy as I am, I never really got into video games. I played Asteroids over one summer because that machine was at a resort that I was staying at, which I enjoyed. My friend, again, Andy Weiner, one of my very influential and good friends from high school, he had a Tempest machine in his basement. And not like a machine that had Tempest on it. He had a literal arcade Tempest machine. So when I got my first job at Moravian College, I got a clone of Tempest on my Centris, on my Mac Centris, and I played that a lot. I played Tempest, and then they also had an paper airplane game where you had to get the paper airplane in like certain vents and stuff. I played that. I like that. That's 25, 27 years ago. So those are kind of the last video games I played. I did also do Myst with my roommate at the time, Steve. We played Myst. That was really cool to figure out Myst. It's like, okay, what are we doing? How does this work? What's going on? Why is there no gun? What's the rule? Where's the aliens? What's the deal? We're in a room with a table. This is a game. What? And then he mostly figured it out, and I kind of watched. So no, if anything, old school, slightly old school with like maybe Galaxian, occasional Galaxian, or maybe Spy Hunter, just one more for the music. I knew that I was beyond video games when I was at a pizza parlor probably 15 years ago. And yes, it was a pizza parlor. I got a phosphate and enjoyed a pizza pie at the pizza parlor. No, it was a pizza joint. And they had a Mario Kart, a freestanding Mario Kart game. And I was waiting for my gyro or my pizza, whatever the heck I ordered. And so I walked over to the Mario Kart game, and it didn't have a joystick. It didn't have a thing. It didn't have buttons. It had a controller, that weird like IUD-shaped controller, that weird like, strange calzone-shaped controller with buttons on it. And so I put a quarter in, and the game started, and my guy just went over to the side of the track and just went gang, 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 gang. It just hit the wall, and I was randomly pushing buttons on this calzone, and nothing was happening. And so I just took my hands off, and I just walked away and sat down. And I thought, okay, no more video games for Gio. Done. Let's see. Here's a drum question, it looks like. In a traditional 9-piece traditional drum kit, what is the piece you use the least for the Philadelphia Funk Authority? Okay, wait. I think you're mixing the 9-piece band with the 9-piece drum kit. In a 9-piece drum kit, what is the piece you use the least? So what drum do I use the least with the Philadelphia Funk Authority? I guess that's the question you're asking. Probably the floor tom, I would think. I use the least. I use I use all the pieces that I have pretty equilaterally, pretty equally. I would say all the skins and metals that I have in front of me, I use pretty regularly and with a certain amount of consistency. But if I had to choose one, if you were going to make some kind of plot of a graph of what I used the least, I'd probably say the floor tom, maybe the two toms, but that's, I mean, but like just probably by like 3% or something, because I'm using all the symbols pretty equally. Maybe the trash symbol a little bit less than normal, but yeah, that's a fun question. Is that what you're asking? GBZ AmbiPie? Yeah. Tangerine Dream. Is that it? Tangerine Dream. Tangerine Dream. Is that the REM video? See if that's the video. Ms. Info is going to see if that's the video. Tangerine Dream. Is that an REM song? Excuse me. That's the band. Yeah. Do REM. Put REM there. Sorry, we're Googling. Sorry.
Yes.
No, it's Tangerine Dreams cover.
Oh.
Nope. Okay.
Damn it. So confusing.
No, I don't think that's it. OK Go videos. Yes, I love OK Go. I love. The thing that I love about OK Go is not just that the videos are so stupidly fantastic and original and creative and amazing and well done and well executed. What upsets me so much and kind of infuriates me and makes me want to strap a rocket between my legs and launch myself through the moon is that the songs are great. Like, how dare you? How dare you have both like these phenomenal videos that are timeless and groundbreaking and so full of joy. So full of joy and joie. There is such a joie to OK Go's videos. And the songs are cool and catchy and fun. Like, how dare you? How dare you? They have an amazing TED Talk, by the way. Check out their TED Talk. It's wonderful. It's really wonderful. That, boy, to work with those guys, that would be something amazing. Something amazing. Joshua asks, what are some movies that no matter how many times you've seen them, whenever you're flipping through the channels you come across, you watch it? Oh my goodness. Yes, of course. Well, Goodfellas, Casino, Real Genius. Usually like the big epic long films, there's something about those, you know. If Die Hard, the first Die Hard is on, I got to watch it till the end. The Godfathers, you kind of have to jump in and watch those. Those are cliched answers, but it's just so true. It's just so true. A lot of the Marvel movies also. I mean, if there's a Marvel movie that somehow I came across at some point, I usually jump in and sort of stick with it to the end, which is usually fun. There Will Be Blood. Oh my gosh. I have come upon that movie like in the first 9 minutes. Like I've missed the first 9 minutes or 12 minutes or 13 minutes of that film. It's happened like 3 times, and I have the next 3 hours I have spent watching it. Totally by accident. I had stuff to do, but Daniel Plainview comes on and I have to watch it. I have to watch it because it's so stupidly good. The Master, it's another one too. Same director, same thing. I just have to I just jump in and I watch and I can't stop watching. But There'll Be Blood. Oh, my son, PW, that's my son. We could be drilling in 6 days. 6 days we can be drilling. And that's a guarantee I have. No one else will guarantee that for you. So stupidly good. Yeah. So those are some. Oh, it's Imitation of Life. Okay, Imitation of Life. REM, Imitation of Life. I think that's it. It zooms in, zooms out. I'm going to look at Ms. Info's screen for 1 second. Oh, commercials. Oh, commercials. Skip ahead. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Go check out REM, Imitation of Life. If you haven't, you can turn that off or else we get banned on the thing. So I don't want my YouTube to take the channel off. Turn it down. We're gonna turn it down because volume is a thing that you can do. Thank you. Imitation of Life, REM. That video is astonishing, and that should have won every award. That should have won like the 100-meter dash award. It just should have gotten everything. So That sugar cane, that tastes so. I knew there was some kind of fruit, sugar. There was something about taste. Let's see. Some movies. Guys, I really appreciate you tuning in. This is really fun. We have a bunch of people here, which is really great. So I'm having a good time. Hope you're having a good time too. What do you think about drum corps? Do you ever go to drum corps shows? Yeah, I have lots of friends that are really into drum corps. Now, drum corps is like marching band. It's like the drum corps. It's like the hardcore drum marching band. The thing that always bugged me about drum corps is that what I loved about percussion, and still do, is that there was a certain uniqueness to, not uniqueness, there was a self-standing nature to percussion. So in an orchestra of 60 people, 60 people are in the orchestra, and you have 14 first violins and 14 second violins, and you have 20 violas and 8 cellos, and 4 trumpets and 4, all these groups. You have all these people. You have all this sound being produced. One percussionist stands up there with a triangle and goes bing, and that's what you hear. One percussionist goes on a snare drum. That's what you hear. Cymbal crash, bam, one guy. That's what I love about percussion, is that it's so unique in terms of its timbral and impact on a piece of music. When all of a sudden you have 35 guys playing snare drum, the appeal of what I loved about percussion is kind of removed. Now, those guys are phenomenal in terms of their technicality. It's astounding how precise and impressive they are. But to me, I always found drum corps to be more of a sport than a musical endeavor. There's music there, but the dance of it, which is impressive as all hell. It's if I look at it in that way, like it's a dance or like it's a sporting event, I really enjoy it. If I go there to be moved by the music personally, I'm not. I don't find much music there, which to drum corps people, I know that's like insulting or whatever, but that's just me. Because there is a certain fastidious technicality that is associated with that type of playing, which is, I could never do it. I've never done it. Probably if I did do it, my opinion would change. I'm sure it would. But whenever someone sends me a DCI video, I watch it and it's like, damn, that's really cool. I never leave thinking that was a wonderful piece of music. Not never, rarely. It's happened, but proportionally, I will be much more moved by a jazz trio or even a ska band, a ska punk 4-piece band that has some kind of musical stuff there versus and it's not about technicality, because there's, you show me a fusion band that is unbelievably technical and precise and wonderful, they might have, but even that tends to lose some of the music for me because it becomes more of an exercise than anything else. But stupidly impressive. I mean, the precision of 25 guys, all their hands are matching exactly and their sound matches exactly. And when they do these tuning exercises, when they have all the brass play chords and there's no beads happening, when you play a note against another note, if it's not in tune, you get this kind of wave that happens. And that's how you know that a note is in tune. And that natural wave is kind of like what makes harmonics and what makes acoustic sound like acoustic sound. And some of these bands get so precise that there's just no wavering to the pitch, and it's unbelievably impressive. But again, there isn't much music there for me personally. So let's see. Do I do any VR games? Yeah, the only VR I've done so far is at Steve Novella's house. I put on a VR set and I went up the elevator and walked out on the plank, like at the 30th or the 50th story. He's like, the door's going to open. There's going to be a thing. Walk out. So I was just like, okay. So I walked out, and it was cool. That was really cool. But I never played any games yet. So BM Furball says, what is the non-music passion you never followed? Probably Sarah. No. What is the non-music passion you never followed? Some kind of science-based thing, probably. Maybe architecture. I wanted to be an architect when I was a kid, you know, just for the Costanzian purity of it. Yes, the to be part of Vandelay Industries and be an architect. No, I think the design thing. I mean, I think I love making every week. I make a little sign for the podcast episode, and so my design brain really likes that. I love making posters for shows. I love making album covers and designing stuff. So that might have been something that I would have pursued more directly, but I still get to do it, which is kind of cool. So I'm kind of spoiled in that way that I still get to follow this sort of design passion, and you know, with Ms. Info's help and training, I've become a moderately okay graphic designer for a very specific kind of thing, like my posters. I'm a really good George Robb poster guy. Apart from that, but that I do really well. I'm getting better and better, and
I
that's
hire you.
Dee's astonished at what I can do in Pages, because I do everything in Pages, and she's like, "How are you doing that in Pages?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm doing it in Pages. I don't know. I don't use Photoshop. I don't use any of this. I just Pages, Mac Pages. I figured out. I got the Pages hack.
My colleagues would not believe it. I
Mm-hmm.
have to show them.
Please." So yeah. As a multi-instrumentalist yourself, Akatarawa Japan says this: as a multi-instrumentalist yourself, are there any multi-instrumentalists out there that you pay particular attention to? So many incredible musicians playing all the things these days. Well, the number one for me would be Mike Keneally, who's from way back. He's my old school, huge inspiration. Mike Keneally plays guitar and piano or keyboards like equally well, which is, you know, there are people that are great at lots of instruments, but Mike is the word virtuoso gets bandied about a lot, and a virtuoso can play anything. And Mike is about as close to a virtuoso on guitar and piano as one could be. So he's impresses me to no end. The people in Pamplemousse, I love the band Pamplemousse. I believe it's a husband and wife. I know it's a couple, or it's a man and a woman. I think they're married. He is an incredible multi-instrumentalist. Old school Paul McCartney, obviously, multi-instrumentalist. You know, I love the albums that Paul plays everything on. There's some beautifully appealing thing about that. But I'm trying to think of current musicians that sort of do it all. There's a lot, and of course, none are coming to mind. I love the YouTube guy that just sat in front of a piano and played a single note on the piano or hit a drum, and he wasn't a musician, but he edited it all together to be a song. It's fast, and like it's a real tune. It's awesome. He's like, I don't know how to play guitar, but he would just play one note at a time and film himself, and then he edited it all together to make songs. I wish I knew his name. It's just astounding. And I'm sure other people have done it too, but he was one of the first guys to do it. So cool. So yeah, but Mike Keneally is the kind of go-to multi-instrumentalist guy. If you listen to Non Kertampf, which is an album of his, which is a strange album, but he played all the instruments on that, percussion and some other stuff. And yeah, Mike Keneally. Let's see. If you were stuck on a desert island with a guitar and one songbook with guitar chords, what would that be? Oh, it'd be my real book. It'd be the book of standards that I have. That's like No Contest. Because I have this crazy thick book of standards, and I would learn all of them because I know about 20% of them maybe. So I would learn all the standards in that book, and then like memorize all of them, and then learn all the verses to all those standards as well. That would be really cool. That's what I would do if I was stuck on an island with just one book. Definitely just a book of standards. This one particular book that I have. So yeah. What's your favorite guitar solo? I talked about this on the show a couple weeks ago. I think I mentioned ultimately it's the Telecaster solo that Steve Howe plays on the song America. Yes's version of the Paul Simon song America. There is a center solo played, I believe, on Telecaster. He calls it the American Telecaster solo, I think. That's about 3.5 minutes of just absolute composed brilliance. It's perfect. It's perfect. And what the band is doing behind it is perfect. Absolutely perfect. That's my favorite guitar solo. A couple more here. We're about an hour in or so. Yeah. In a movie, how quickly can you detect that an actor performing a musical instrument is ADR'd? Instantly. Instantly. Yeah. For example, an actor starts playing the piano and it cuts away to hide the fact they're not playing. Again, because I know the instruments, I can, especially with guitar or piano or drums, I can tell if the person is not only if they're not playing live. I mean, they very, very, very rarely are playing live, but if they're playing the right thing. So take, for example, the movie That Thing You Do, which is, I love that film. It's a wonderful, fun, Tom Hanks directed and written film called That Thing You Do. And it's about a band in the 60s. And it's one of the very first times that the actors learned the actual chord positions. So when the guitarist is playing a G in the movie, he's doing that. You doing that thing you do. And that's all correct. The D and the C and the G and the right. Now, what they're playing is not what we're hearing, but the fingering is right. And more and more movies are getting it right, which is nice. You watch The Sweet and Lowdown with Sean Penn playing jazz guitar, and I couldn't watch the movie. I couldn't watch the film because it was so not right. It just took me out of the film. Too much. The Pixar movie Coco is 100% spot on. All of the guitar playing, all the fingering that happens in that film is spot on. Obviously, the animated cartoons are not playing that music, but their fingerings are on, and it's amazing. And I can instantly see. I can usually tell also with woodwind and brass, and it's pretty instantaneous. There's also a timbral quality to the sound. So I mean, if I'm watching a live performance, I can usually tell if it's live or not. Usually, because there's something about, especially vocals. But yeah, you can tell sort of. When I was watching Tiger King, and they cut to the video, and he's standing on top of that truck and he's playing guitar. It's like, I mean, as soon as the shot opened, I'm like, he's not playing guitar because the hand was wrong and the strumming was wrong, and he doesn't even know how to even rudimentally hold the guitar. So it's like, okay, he's not playing guitar. And then you could tell right away that wasn't his voice either. And not that he was lip syncing to his own voice, but you just knew there was no way his mouth and the phonemes of his could come out of the mouth that he has. There was just no way. And it turned out it wasn't. So nice. Oh, I guess Pamplemousse are married. That's good to know. Okay. See you, Danny. Let's see, one or two more. Josh says, if a musician sees video of him or herself with no sound, they will know what song they are playing and even what part of the song it is. Yeah, usually. I can usually tell from a photograph what song I'm playing. That's usually a fun little thing. Like if someone takes a picture of me on stage, and I'll with a certain amount of accuracy, I'll be able to say like, oh, that's the G chord from when I was your age. Or which is sort of fun. I mean, it's not so much just your face. Even your face, sometimes I'll be able to tell like if it's a certain scream or something in a song, I'll be like, oh, that's the scream in Disappointed. But yeah, but a video that's playing without sound, any musician should be able to tell what song they're playing pretty quickly, especially chorded instruments or whatever. Yeah. Drums, it might take a second because some rhythms look very similar, but you'd be able to tell pretty quickly. So sorry, he says Marty McFly's Johnny B. Good solo, especially at the end. Yeah, he did a pretty good job. He's obviously not playing that for real, but he did a pretty good job. And his Johnny B. Good licks are actually pretty decent. Pretty decent. What's his name? Marty, the person that played Marty McFly.
Crispin Glover.
No, that was his father.
Oh.
Yeah, Marty was the son who was played by the guy from Family Pains.
Oh.
Not Family Pains, from. Yeah. Anyway.
No. I lost it.
Michael J. Fox.
That's it. Oh.
Michael J. Fox did a good job in the Back to the Future movies with his guitar playing. Considering he was traveling through time, and trying to bang his mother. Thank you, Ray. Just got there, Ray. Okay, one more. What do we got? Who's got a question? One more. Earlier this year, you recommended Jake Wilson's debut album. Yes, go get Jake's album. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. Do I have any recommendations for something similar? I am so outside of that prog sphere nowadays, that kind of fusion-y prog thing, that check out the Aristocrats. They're a tremendous trio. I would check out their stuff. I don't know if they have a current record or not, but that's really, really fun. A little bit more harder edge than Jake's stuff, but really great. And yeah, Michael J. Fox plays guitar for sure. So, okay, kids, listen. Episode 2 of 13 Songs with Me is going to be a week from Saturday. I'm about 90% sure. The topic is going to be Sting and the Police. We're going to have a huge amount of fun. It's going to be 13 songs done by the Police and or Sting. And yeah, it's going to be great. Keep an eye out on my Twitter and on Facebook, and I will let you know when that show's happening, where that show is happening, whether YouTube, Facebook, or what, and what time. And yeah, it's going to be a really good episode. I love doing these shows. I'm so excited to be doing more of them. If you have any suggestions for shows, for themes, send me an email, george@georgerob.com. Please, subscribe to the YouTube as always, and follow me in the places you can follow me. And yeah, thanks, guys. I really enjoyed this. Please be safe. Wash your hands. Take care of your neighbors if you can. Be good. Get outside as much as you possibly can while being safe. And we'll make it through this nonsense. And doing this kind of stuff really helps me to help all of everybody else make it through this kind of nonsense. Say bye to Ms. Info.
Bye. Take care, everyone.
See you, everybody. Thank you so much. Be good. Love y'all. Bye.